Hello YouTube and welcome to another episode of The Cloudy Vape. In this video we're going to be talking about the iSub Apex tank by Innokin. So here is the tank, not too bad. This is actually a different drip tip, but it does come with I believe two different types of drip tips, a glass one and a stainless steel one. So this is the, the kind of tank going on. This is actually the original disruptor, not the temperature control one, in case you guys are wondering. So these, this tank offers 0.2 ohms, 0.5 ohms, and 2 ohms as far as pre-built coils for them. As far as I know, they actually use the iSub G coils, so you can use iSub G coils if you have a bunch of those stocked up and you want to get this tank, or if you're an iSub G user and you want to upgrade to the Apex tank. However, I will say right off the bat, the only issue that I can really find with this device is that you cannot take it apart all the way. I mean, you can, but you would probably break it. But there's even, the company even states that it cannot be disassembled all the way. So if you want to clean it, you're going to have to run it through hot water, let it dry, etc., etc. But as far as, anti-leaking, no leaks, top fill, huge airflow, wicks really, really good. However, I do not believe it works very well with high VG, at least from what I've tested. You can't take long draws, you can't bump up the wattage. At least the 0.5 ohm coils I have, I believe it says 15 to 35 watts is your recommended wattage. As far as the stock coils that come with this device, you're looking at, if I look at this box right here, I believe 2.5 ohm coils are going to be in there. I don't know if they actually sell the device with the 0.2 ohm or the 2 ohm heads, but that is an afterthought, something you can buy afterwards. So let's have a vape. So I'm using a 50-50 juice right now just to make it wick a little bit better so I can take long draws and it can keep up with wicking. However, I haven't really found this to be very wickable, so to speak, at a higher VG. So something past 70 VG, you're not really going to be able to handle. It's not going to be able to wick something like this. So this is for your high PG users, all the way up to I would say maybe 70 VG, really depending on the viscosity of the juice. Regardless of the ratio, it's more about consistency and the thickness of the juice, because you really only have two wicking channels going into the coil. So that is that. Let's dive down, look at the little parts that we can take apart, and then go back up and talk about the pros and the cons. So this is their newest sub-ohm clearmizer, and this is what they got going on. So here is the box it comes in. Just has a little info on it and little info on the back. I'll go ahead and read it off for you. So quick and clean top fill, dual adjustable airflow, removable drip tip, 100% stainless steel, Pyrex glass tank, iSub coil compatible, Japanese organic cotton, no spill, coil swap system, 3 mil juice capacity, recommended wattage, and this is for your 0.5 ohm, 20 to 35 watts, and it comes with 2.5 ohm coil heads. It says the iSub Apex has been created with expertise and passion to enhance your personal vaping experience, perfect for mouth-to-lung vaping for consistent full flavor. Deep hits for huge clouds, or a great mix of both. Solid spin top fill system, refills quickly and cleanly, and raised adjustable airflow minimizes leaks and maximizes performance. Compact and quiet, the sleek, high-quality, 100% stainless steel body and Pyrex glass have been engineered for durability as well as an outstanding flavor and cloud production. Vape it all with Innokin. Vape above it all with Innokin iSub Apex. Sorry, I didn't English very well. They wrote it completely right. I just totally messed up talking about it. So cool thing, right when you open it, it's going to say, prepare for flavor. So I'm preparing, Innokin. Let's do this, Innokin. Let's do it. I'm preparing. Okay, so what we have here is we have our extra coil head, we have an extra drip tip, and we have our actual tank. So the extra drip tip is going to be that glass drip tip I was telling you about. That glass drip tip, not too bad. Nice little 510 drip tip, and it does fit on other devices, so that is very nice. So that's your 510 drip tip for glass. Here is your coil head, nicely sealed, an anti-tamper, tamper-proof type thing. So you're going to get a nice clean coil, let's hope. And then here is our tank. So that's really all that's inside of it. Not a lot of goodies, but enough to do what you need. So here is the actual tank. Not too bad. So it looks kind of weird, right? Your airflow is super high, your tank is super low, your airflow is also up here, you have a drip tip here, and look at that, top fill right there, top fill system. It opens up, top fill right there. Not too bad, not too bad. Bottom section, you have just a little pin right there, a little bit of marking on the bottom. Now I believe this is a 22 millimeter tank. As far as the height, it doesn't say anything on the manual, but I would guess, it's about the size of your normal, iSub or your iSub G, about that size. Also the size, the original Aspire, Atlantis, it's just your average size. It's not a large one and it's not a small one. If anything, nowadays I would say this is an average size, if not a little bit smaller compared to most of your big tanks. It is only a 3 juice mil capacity, or 3 mil capacity, so it's definitely not large. So let's talk about the quick swap features. So the only thing you're really able to take apart is going to be this little bottom section, which all this really does is just holds the, it seals off the tank and it holds on this coil. So this coil is basically in here and it just pops right in just like that. You have a little stainless steel mesh on it, or some type of mesh on it. You have one juice flow channel right there and one right there. So it is a horizontal coil, if you see, just like that. The way you know to put them in, you'll see it's rounded off and then it has that harsh edge right there. So it's basically, the sides are cut off of a circle and that lines up with this right here. So you can line up those lines. As you place it down in, you'll see that it won't line up until you kind of adjust. Let me look off camera real quick. Turn this way. Just like that, adjust it and it will line up pretty well, and that's that. So the majority of your connection is going to be on this coil. The actual pin is on the coil also. So when you replace your coil, you're actually replacing your 510 connection and your actual pin, your bottom positive pin. So that is something to note, just like that. So the only other thing that is removable from here is going to be your drip tip. Okay, and now if you see on the sides here, it's kind of hard to see, but basically you have little airflow slits right there at the tip, the base of where you would put your drip tip. You have another little airflow slot right there. So what you can do is, these drip tips have little slots on the very tops of these, so you can open up airflow to the very tip if you want to. By just simply holding this and twisting your drip tip until it lines up with the airflow. And if I do believe correctly, let me look at this glass one. I think the glass one has the same features. Yes, the glass one has the same features. Now you can probably see that better on this glass one than on the Pyrex one, because the Delrin one, because the Delrin one's a little dark. But if you see right there, you see that little Cylon airflow right there. So that pops in and then lines up, and you can adjust it as needed. So like I said, the only removable parts on this is going to be this bottom section, the coil. So the bottom section connecting to the coil is all you can remove, and your drip tip. The rest is all encased one thing, at least from my knowledge. I can't really figure out how to get it apart without breaking it. Let's talk about marking. So this is their kind of prism logo. It says this is a prismatic flavor, or how do they kind of note that? There's a term that they've been using. It's a new prismatic vaping system. something like that. Let's pull this out and check it out. Oh, this just talks about filling. Yeah, I know it's like prism. I feel so stupid right now, but there is actual term for this. It says prism, but it's basically their prism style of airflow. So I don't know if they're patenting that by calling it prism. Maybe not. But then you also have your iSub G right there. You also have your I assume for Innokin right there. That is your markings. Looking on the bottom, you have a little O-ring to seal off that bottom section. Here's your top airflow. So as you turn it, it will open and close. Open and close. And there's two of them, so it fills up really fast. You just pick one side, fill it up, and close it. Now the catch is, as you twist it, let me bump up my camera's ISO a little bit so you can see it. It might be really bright, but I just want you to be able to see inside that tank. So as you twist this open, right, you see inside of here, that little opening inside there is now opening. You close it, it's closed, open, close. So what it does is when you top fill, it automatically shuts off, or it closes off the juice flow. So the juice flow is not going to happen. There's no juice flow happening while you actually fill it up. So you have less potential for flooding. So the whole system, really not to go into too much detail because it's basically just going to be pointing and trying to explain it. So your actual chamber, your juice chamber, is more up higher, right? And then you have a lower airflow chamber. So this airflow right here goes directly down, and then it hits these bottom slits right here at the bottom. If you can barely see them, they're basically around the base of the actual bottom. So the airflow goes, you inhale, it goes down, goes under, goes through the coil head, and then back through, back up right there. And that's how your airflow works. So it's kind of separating the airflow completely from the juice, but it actually has that reservoir, so it kind of falls down in and does that. So it is a very interesting, kind of weird design, but you know what? It vapes like a charm and it works really well, so I'm not going to knock their style of doing it. I think it, from the outside looking in, it looks really weird, but actually, using it and vaping on it, no problem. I love that as you open this, you fill it up, it automatically shuts off the coils, or the juice flow to the coils. It's very simplistic. So really the only thing I could say bad about this, because the machining is top notch, the quality, the cleanliness, it does not taste like machine oil. It's super clean when you get it. The coils, I've never had a bad coil, so as far as consistency on coils, super awesome. But the only problem I have with it is just this, not being able to take it apart, that's just my thought on it. Yeah, I kind of lost track of what I was saying. So let's put it back together really quickly. I would say always remember, if I can find the coil. I can't find the little coil for it now. Here it is. Alright, so I would just say always remember to prime this wick before you put it in. Hot swapping, it's pretty easy, but just make sure to prime that wick, and you can drop it directly onto that stainless steel screen if you want. But definitely prime it. So pop that on, and it's one of those really minimalistic tanks, so good for somebody just starting out that wants to try it out. And it does go up to 2 ohms, so it is something that you could get somebody to start out with. Now, the last thing, just as the last thing about the airflow, I personally think it is way too much airflow for how much wattage it accommodates. That's just my personal opinion. You have a huge, 3 millimeters high by, probably 10 to 12 millimeters in width on both sides, and they adjust. So you can close them off a lot. But, okay, so right there, let me open it back up just a little bit. So there you go. See, as you close off one side, you close off another side. So I just personally think the fully wide open just really doesn't accommodate. There's really no point of having that much airflow for something that can go only, only down or up to 35 watts, if that's what they're saying. Again, I haven't messed too much with the 0.2 ohm coil head, but I have messed with the 0.5 ohm quite a bit, and it just seems like way too much airflow for the 0.5 ohm head. So that's kind of the breakdown. I'll just give you a quick twist on it so you can have a look at it. Let's go back up to FaceTime and talk about the pros and the cons. So as far as the pros and the cons, let's go with the cons first. I would say the two main cons that I have found, and this is just my personal opinion with the juice I've been using. First off, you cannot clean this device. You cannot fully clean it. It's not like something you can take completely apart like the original iSub G. You can only take off the bottom, the drip tip, and you can, kind of adjust the airflow control open more so you can get more water into it to kind of adjust it. You can also remove the coil, of course. But that's kind of a con for me, not something I'm a big fan of. However, for new users, and if this is going to be your only device, if rinsing it out is something that you can handle and something that you don't mind doing, I would definitely say that wouldn't even be a con in your case. But for me, somebody who would, I would like to take it apart, really see what's going on inside of it, and even rebuild the coils if I want to. So, it's just one of those things I'm kind of paranoid about. I would really like it to have a completely something that can be completely disassembled. The other con is going to be the viscosity of the wicking. So for me, for a nice long lung draw, and the only reason I say that is because the airflow looks like it should accommodate. If you see that, that's huge airflow on both sides. This type of airflow should accommodate more of a higher VG wicking because you really don't even need that much airflow with the way it wicks. You can close it off really, probably a third of the way, 3/4 of the way off, and you still get, great vapor production for the viscosity that you're using. So those are my cons. But as far as pros, let's talk about pros. I really enjoyed that there's two different types of drip tips. I really enjoy the glass drip tip. I enjoy the extra airflow on the top. However, that's, again, if you feel like the vapor is too hot, that's something that you can do. I do like that the adjustable airflow is wide and small. However, like I said, the purpose, I would say, in my head, for a wider airflow would be for something that could really, accommodate high VG wicking, something that you could really bump up the wattage and get a lot of vapor production out of it. So, I just feel like maybe the airflow is just too big for what it is. And I haven't been able to try the 0.2 ohm coil, so that's just speaking from the experience on the 0.5 ohm coil. So that, could be completely changed if I tried the 0.2 ohm coil. However, they only sent me the 0.5 and the 2 ohm coil. So with those, that's where I'm kind of going with. As far as everything else, I think that it is great flavor, great production, and it just works very, very well. It's a cool kind of new design, very anti-leak proof. So I would say that I would give it definitely a thumbs up for a new user. If you're a hobbyist vapor, you probably won't be into this, only because most hobbyist vapors, you're going to want something that will wick a little bit faster, or at least people who like volume vaping would want something that would wick a little bit faster. So I'm all over the place with what I think about this, but as far as the actual production, it works perfect. I mean, I have another vape on it. So that's at what? 3.2 volts at 5 ohms. What is my wattage at once this thing clears? So I'm about 25 watts. So we can bump it up a little bit. Let's see what it's at about 30 watts. And actually 35 watts is what says the max is. So let's go 35 watts. So it will accommodate it. It will accommodate probably about up to 40 watts with it before it'll start really like burning or anything, or not burning, but just getting really hot. But you know, the wicking just doesn't really keep up past 35 watts. But like I said, they recommend 35 watts is as high as you should go. So completely spot on with that, with what they said. So yeah, it's one of those things. What type of vapor are you, and what do you use? If you're going to use a thinner viscosity, I would definitely recommend this. If you don't mind, having to clean it out by just filling it up with water and letting it dry out, I would also definitely recommend this. And as far as the RBA section, there is an RBA section that is coming out soon. At least that's what I heard. But right now, you got 0.2, 0.5 and 2 ohm coils, so if that will tickle your fancy and if you can afford it, I'm not sure the price. I believe the iSub G was something like 25, 30 bucks, so I'm assuming it's around that, anywhere from 25 probably up to 40. That's probably what you're looking at for this one. So again, you make the decision, and that is that. That's all I really have to say about that. So I really do appreciate Innokin sending this off to me to check out and to review and all that good stuff. So gonna wrap up this review, and I'll talk to you soon. Thanks for watching this video. If you liked it, please like it. And if you like my videos in general, please subscribe. And as always, stay classy and keep vaping.